I think I'm just going to continue onwards. I don't have time. Yeah. Tuba City, are you guys seeing anything?
We see this class.
Okay, they see the class, but they don't see the content. So I'm just going to continue right now. Okay, ready. Alrighty, so. So within that, we're looking at maintaining health and fitness. Exercise promotes health and fitness, participation in a variety of competitive and recreational sports, as well as tennis. You have bowling. You have lifetime fitness regimens. You have individuals now understanding and gaining a better understanding of their weight. You have children who are now looking and saying, okay, I am now gaining weight, so now I need to make sure that I stay healthy. You have children who are now having a better understanding of that. Within that, you're also looking and taking into... Oh, that's not me.
We said that's done for the day.
So, most children in middle childhood have keener vision than when they were younger. So within that, almost 30% of children under 18 can't see at all or have impaired vision. So now that's where you're looking at children and saying, okay, about 50% of... Okay, thank you. So about 50% of 6 to 19-year-olds, mostly boys, have some hearing loss. And I don't know if, I didn't do the exercise with you about the hearing loss, did I? No, so my 111s, they started looking at hearing loss. So one of the biggest things we always look at is what is mostly in our ears right now or at any given time.
Earphones.
Earphones, right? We have earbuds. So, earbuds, we realize, have a detriment to your overall hearing health. So, you have little tiny fibers in your ears. So when you kill those off, they don't come back. That's the reality. A lot of times individuals, what do? They crank up their music so loud, and then you have young children who are looking at individuals and saying, okay, I can play this as loud as I want, and it's not going to impact me. I don't need it until later. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. So now, public health and change. So according to public health advocates, children do not get as much gross motor activity as they should. So now research have found that children who are physically active have what? Higher scores in terms of executive functioning. The ability to solve cognitive problems without becoming distracted. So if you have a child that's becoming distracted, now you start to look at it and say, okay, what things are being missed? Because again, what happens with physical activity? For children who are developing, what happens? They have so much energy that they need to release. So when that happens, one of the big things you're always looking at and saying, all right, how can we change that? If they're getting away and moving away from all these different elements of physical activity, we realize that it's going to impact them. And you have a lot of parents who are like, you know what, I don't want my child to be active. I don't want them to do all these different things because it hurts them, all this, and this. Then we also realize that there's a level of physical activity that needs to be implemented. So now in health, there's a sharp increase in the incidence of myopia in middle childhood. In other words, nearsightedness. Children, especially in developing countries, tend to have an increase in eyesight problems. Now, a lot of times it comes down to their diet. It comes down to the poor lighting. How many have ever remembered doing that? Or how many have ever in that uniqueness where mom or dad said, hey, make sure you turn on the light. Don't sit so close to the TV. All these different things. But a lot of times we don't care because we're like, don't. You do whatever I want. So now 2 factors lead to poor eyesight. Genetic predisposition for eyesight problems and increased use of phones and computers as well as tablets. So we see that. So how many have ever seen, or how many at nighttime when you look at your phone, the blue light hits you, and then when you're ready to go to sleep, you turn it off, and all you see is that blueness everywhere. And you're like, wow. And it's just so dark in your room. And within that, what's happening? You're impacting, you're straining your eyes. But for children, this is a big impact. So now, injury rates are low in middle childhood. So one of the things is injuries increase between ages 5 and 14. They do increase, but they're relatively low. The reason why is they have a better understanding of what hurts. They are also taking into consideration the fact that they need to have protective headgear. How many of your nieces, nephews, and even your own, if you have children, how many of actually wear helmets? As we look at it and think, this is res life. We're tough, right? We're tough. We're a bunch of tough kids. I survived. Then we realize that there's traumatic brain injury. As they get older, they can't remember things. They have impacts to their brain. We saw that. So one of the biggest things you're looking at is ensuring that children actually wear protective headgear. So now, injury prone. Within that, you have younger children in middle school, and within that, they're becoming better and they're more agile. So as they're agile, they're able to function, they're able to maneuver a lot quicker. That's the reason why you have a lot of, you have the Avengers that came out, and you have a lot of children saying, I can do exactly what so-and-so can do. Now you have the new Batman coming up in 2021. So within that, you have a lot of little children who are saying, yes, I am going to watch that, and I am going to do everything that they do. So all of that culminates. Because how many of the little kids are saying, yeah, you know what, if we were ever in a car accident, I would jump from here to there, and then jump this way. How many actually remember that? How many actually can actually remember themselves saying that? I have one individual that just, we do, right? We have people who are like, yeah, I can do that. Either that or you're now in, what would you call it, middle adulthood? And you think, I can still do that. I can still do that. I think I can do that. I can literally jump off, and I can survive, and I can do this, this, and this. Well, the reality is, for younger children, they can. Why? Because they're a little more agile. But as you get older, things slow down. How many are still in rodeo right now, and you realize you're not as young and spry as you once were? It's not, it's painful, right? You're like, take a little longer to heal. But for young children, one of the big things is they're looking at injuries. So again, they're injury prone. So now we jump into cognitive development. So children in middle childhood develop a more true-to-life understanding of the world and have a better grasp of it. This is where they realize that Santa Claus is not real, hopefully. If you are an adult who still believes Santa Claus is real, more power to you. But if you still believe he's real, awesome. If I offend anybody in Tuba City, Crown Point, Window Rock, Chinley, or Shiprock, if you still believe Santa Claus is real, I'm sorry. But for children in middle childhood, they begin to experience and also understand that Santa Claus is not real. Again, they also ask the aspect of, was it inspired by true events? We realize, yes, it was, but he does not fly all the way around the world in one night. So mental health. Now this is where it gets fun. So ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Again, one of the big things, if you look at it, 1 in 6 children aged 2 to 8 has a mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. So what does that mean? What do you think it means? Since you guys are all working into the area of childhood development. So what does that mean? Based upon the information up here. So we realize that 1, ADHD, behavior problems, anxiety, and depression are the most commonly diagnosed. So why are they the most commonly diagnosed? Why do you think they're the most commonly diagnosed across the board? So anxiety, why do you think children are more anxious? When we're looking at health, when we're looking at food intake. So we have the summer youth program, we had the summer feeding program, as it's called. And the reason why we have that is why? Why do you think they have the summer feeding program? I don't like to call it the summer feeding program. There's something about it just does not feel right. It just seems very purgy. You guys have ever watched the movie Purge? That's what it sounds like is the summer feeding program. Sounds pretty good. But why do you think the summer feeding program was created?
Because school's out. Can't eat lunch at school anymore.
School's out, right? It's very simple. It's one of those big things. School's out. They don't get their food, breakfast, and lunch. So now they have to supply that. And when I was working with schools, one of the biggest things is, even on the reservation, do you believe there's a homeless issue? Homelessness. Why?
Because you see a lot of people outside the stores saying they don't have a home to go to.
Okay. So when I was working with schools, one of the biggest things that I came across was young children. So if they stayed at a dorm, the dorm covered everything. The dorm covered Monday through Friday. The dorm covered food. It covered laundry. It covered all these different elements. But on the weekends, parents had to become what? Responsible again. So if they were doing everything, and how many have brothers and sisters? Little brothers and sisters. How many of them have gone off to grandma's and you're the only one left at home? She's like, no, I never experienced it. It's the worst experience. They're always there. They're always there. So when they go off, what happens? It gets pretty what? Quiet, right? You get to do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about them always being there. They don't have to kind of pop up everywhere. Saying, what are you doing? What you doing? What are you eating? What's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who are you texting? Gets annoying, right? She's like, yes. If you have children, that's what happens too. So kids do that a lot. They ask, who are you texting? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? And so suddenly, if the parent is not taking care of them throughout the week, they can focus themselves on other projects, other things they need to do. And then on the weekend, child comes back, and they originally didn't have a home already, and they're living in their vehicle. So now it creates a what? A level of anxiety for the child. It creates a level of anxiousness, depressive aspects. Why? Because I come home to this, and I don't even have a home. In addition to that, I have friends who actually have a real home, and I don't. You have all these different elements added to it. So then you have all of these stress factors coming in. So now you have comorbidity. So comorbidity is when you have a given ailment that also represents with other ailments. So having another disorder is most common in children with depression. About 3 in 4 children aged 3 to 17 years with depression also have anxiety, 73.8%, and almost 1 in 2 have behavioral problems, 47.2%. For children aged 3 to 17 years with anxiety, more than 1 in 3 also have behavior issues, and 1 in 3 also have depression. So notice that there's an interwoven aspect to it. Within that, for children aged 3 to 17 with behavior problems, they're more than what? 1 in 3 also have anxiety, as well as depression. So now treatment. So treatment rates vary among different mental disorders. Nearly 8 in 10 children aged 3 to 17 with depression receive treatment. So 8 in 10, that's pretty good. They receive treatment, which is relatively good. But what happens to the other students that don't? So the youngest I was working with, an individual was suicidal. So the individual was suicidal due to familial circumstances, family circumstances. So when that happens, how do you respond to that? How do you treat a child with that? Would be one way. I know I'm asking you guys a unique question. Because as we're never supposed to talk about what? Suicide. We're like, no, yeah, no way, leave it alone. Don't ever talk about it. Ever. Let's ignore it and just hope it suddenly disappears. Right? And that's the reason why we always get, the psych department always gets in trouble for that. Because we're always talking about all the things that we're never supposed to talk about. So with suicide, why do you think, so within all of these, why do you think can lead to suicide? What is one reason? How can it culminate to suicide? So they have more concrete understandings now. They have a better understanding of what is happening, of the world around them. It's no longer kind of just, oh, you know, mom and dad are no longer together. Now they're realizing, okay, these are the reasons why mom and dad are not together. These are the reasons why I'm in this type of environment. I'm realizing now that I'm coming from a poor home. All these different things are now coming into light. So now, within mental health in middle children, or middle childhood, ODD tends to rear its head. So ODD is a pattern of behavior where a child is uncooperative and hostile towards authority figure. And it's always unique when you're working with individuals in this unique state. So as a counselor, a lot of times you're coming across individuals, you try to be as nice as possible, you smile a lot, you do all these different things, and then you have a child looking at you saying, nope. I'm going to defy everything that you are doing, and I am going to try to defy even the parents. And how are parents usually in this unique circumstance as well? Are they themselves excited about their child being brought into the principal's office or anything else? No, they're usually pretty upset themselves. And the child I was working with, one of the big things that this child had was, father used to be a former gang member. So when the child was a former gang member, or not the child, but when the father was a former gang member, one of the biggest things is, that's how he implemented it to his child. So the child, what he taught him was always be tough, to always defy who? Anybody in authority, anybody with a badge, anybody who was a popo, anybody who represented somebody who was wealthy, all these different elements. So now you have a child like that coming into an educational system. So they're sitting there. As they're sitting there, do you think they want to listen to the teacher? So everything that the teacher tries to bring to them, everything they try to teach them, the child's like, nope, don't care. Don't care. Don't care. So now teachers are now frustrated. They're like, okay, what can we do? So the next step is to refer them to counselors. It's like, yay, we get that job. So when that happens, we meet with the child, and we meet with the child, we try to break down what. Because one of the biggest things is with defense mechanisms. For children in this unique state, they already put up that wall. So one of the biggest things, we're trying to lower that wall to allow them to express what is happening. So as we're expressing what is happening, we want to make sure that they, across the board, are able to be heard. So now, the concrete operational stage. So the concrete operational stage runs from ages 7 through 11 and usually introduces the child to more complex mental operations that will initiate the child into the world of academia. So now, I want you to look at that. 2 lines. Are they both the same size, and are they similar?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. How many say yes? Raise your hand.
it could be both.
Are they both the same size?
The way you see it, yeah.
Okay. I just want to know. I just want to know. Everybody's like, is it? Oh my gosh. Is it really? How about Chin Lee? Can you guys see that? Is it both the same size? Okay. Shiprock, are they both the same size?
Kill it.
Winter Rock, are they both the same size?
Nowhere.
Okay. Crown Point, are they both the same size?
What's the height?
Okay, Tuba City, you can't see it. I'm sorry.
Height and width.
We can see it.
Oh, you guys can see it, yes! Awesome, are they both the same size?
Yep, yeah.
Okay, alright, okay. Everybody's in agreement that they're all the same size? Okay.
Yeah.
Are they both the same size?
Yes.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not really sure, but
Yes.
So everybody, are they both the same size?
Yes.
Some are actually doubting it, they're like, is it? Is it really?
99% sure.
So let's go back. That's it? That's it? Let's go back one more time. Same size, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's doubting it. They're like, oh my, is it really? Oh my gosh, this is an illusion. Same size? Tuba City, is it the same size? I have 2 people that said yes. Shinley, are they the same size? All right, Shiprock, are they the same size?
Oh,
Do you believe they're the same size? Thumbs up if they are.
time talking.
Okay, we have 1 thumbs up. Winterrock, are they the same size?
Words.
Okay. Crown Point, same size? They are. On each of the above mentioned conservation tasks, the older children will show little problem conserving. In fact, they may view you as being stupid for asking whether the items are changing. Everybody said, what? No, they are. After a while, now you're upset with yourself thinking, they were, of course they were. Having a child in the pre-operational stage and another in the concrete operation stage complete these tasks at the same time provide a powerful demonstration of the dramatic change in thought during childhood. Concrete stage. You're having a better understanding. So now for children who are younger, they're looking at it, they're thinking, that's not, no. As they get older, hopefully they're able to differentiate. They know that it just moved. For others, you're like, no. Oh my gosh. So Piaget initially created the concrete operational child. So cognitive advances. So now the child is able to understand seriation, which means the child can arrange objects in initial series based on 1 or more dimensions, such as weight, lightest to heaviest, or color. So now you have horizontal décollage. They master ideas of conservation of different items at different ages, volume of liquid. So, most of you get a medium-sized drink. A lot of you think that it's the same as the large drink. And you're like, it is. It is. The reality is, they're primarily almost the same size. But subconsciously, you're thinking, no. All you do is make it thinner, longer, and it creates that illusion. For young children, they believe that, hey, there's a difference. So that's one of the big things you're always looking at. As you're developing, you're learning to, what? Understand the reality of solid measurements, numbers. Within that, children in middle childhood become better at dealing with organization. They understand that there's a difference between the whole and the sum of its parts. This is known as class inclusion. The individual also understands seriation, or the ability to scale objects according to dimensions. So attention and ADHD. So selective attention is important for succeeding in school. Within that, with ADHD, there are issues with inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. 5 to 9 have been diagnosed with ADHD, 8% of children ages 5 to 9. Boys are more than twice as likely as girls to have it, and is usually first diagnosed by a pediatrician. Within that treatment in the United States usually includes the child taking what? Ritalin or other hyperactivity suppressing drugs. That's one of the big things I'm always worried about is, especially for children, because as they're taking all these unique substances, one of the big things is individuals will begin to suppress their given elements of growth. So now memory. So children begin using memory strategies, mnemonic, such as rehearsal, repeating the same information over and over, organization, placing things mentally into meaningful categories. You have mnemonic, in other words, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, PEMDAS, having to remember that from high school. In addition to that, you have elaborative rehearsal. So let me pull that one up. So, this is what elaborative rehearsal looks like. So Jane, I'm Jane. So if you're dating, or if you're in the dating world, there's key structures that you try to remember, right? So when you meet an individual, what you usually do, they say, you know what, I'm so-and-so. Within that, you now say, okay,